to blog 7 of my Uni Blogs final year. This one is my overall thoughts for Negotiated Studies 1, which is more or less concluded today with the overall assessment. On this blog I'll take you through the whole journey of it, right back at the beginning when I came up with the idea, to completing the Animatic. This personal journey started back in October of last year, when we were all asked what we were going to come up with for our final year project. Now, for those of you who have read the blogs, as in my typing blogs, you'll know that there was a plan to come up with someone who was going to be struck down by cancer, and he wasn't going to react to it very well, and his friends would get concerned and they'd basically have to take it to a hospital. And that was going to involve two of my friends, Frank and Sophie, but that would have to have been done in an animation film. Now, I had concept art all done for that, which I'd worked on over summer, and when I mentioned it to them, as in Yvonne, Simon and everyone, and all the other students at the time, they felt it just would have been too complicated to do. So when they came back to me and asked what I was going to do, I thought of the idea. It was kind of just like a spur of the moment thing, because I didn't know whether it was going to work or not. And I suggested do like a short animated film about my dad's cancer experience, because it's something that meant a great deal to me and is really close to my heart. So I felt that would be the best way to go, and Yvonne said at the time that the personal ones are the ones that are really good. So once I'd agreed with them what I was going to do, there were various ways that I could have gone about it. I could have just steamed straight into it and done it, but best idea was to speak to him first. So him being my dad, obviously, I phoned him up and had a short conversation with him, telling him what I was going to do, what it was going to be about, and how long it was going to be. So once that was agreed, I then sent him an email with about 4 questions. Each question was about how he reacted, how he felt my mum and sister reacted, or how they'd feel about it, the treatment, who he felt was most affected. Now, if you've seen the Animatic, it was me. But don't matter, but there's the link for the Animatic, that's in the description bar below. So do take a look at that. Okay, once email questions were sent, I originally was going to go with asking questions, sending questions off to my mum and my sister as well, to get general feedback from them. But I felt, because it was coming from my dad's point of view, and he's talking about these different experiences that he was feeling at the time, he felt it was better if it's just him doing the interview, and then I can cut to when he's telling my mum and my sister, which are done in flashbacks. Telling them and me, we're done in flashbacks. Now the rest of it is all shot on just like my dad, but I'll explain more about that later on. Once the email questions had been sent off, I then wrote down my copy and proceeded to go back in late October to conduct the interview, which obviously due to the time I arrived on the Saturday, we weren't able to get it done on the Saturday, so with the help of Elaine, my girlfriend, who's actually holding the camera right now because I don't have my stand, we recorded it. I gave my dad asked for about 30 minutes, just to prepare himself so we could come up with the right answers for the questions. So when she was ready, he let me know, and then I was able to proceed with the questions and get his answers on them. And the original once the interview was done, I was then able to go through it and write out a transcript, because I felt it was the best way rather than just write it out, because I wouldn't have known what his answers were going to be at the time. So when I got back, I think the first thing that I started doing was going through the transcript. Going through the interview itself and writing out the entire transcript so that Yvonne and or Simon or Maurice, could look at it, and then they'd be able to say or suggest what bits of dialogue I needed to cut out. Now, the first thing they suggested is it had to be 3 minutes. So the first thing that went were the questions that I was asking. So that then got it down to 5 minutes. And then there was other little bits of dialogue that needed to be removed. For example, the answer he gives about the treatment, the different types and what it goes with in the end, is quite extensive. So that got cut. And there were other bits that got cut as well, like his final answer about whether it had changed him at all, in which he references to a chocolate bar getting kicked up the backside. So that was cut, and there was other little bits where he's pausing and basically like I'm doing now. Little things like that, even if it was just a few seconds, cutting it down. I did about 5 different versions of the video. What I probably haven't mentioned was obviously once all the interviewing was done, I could then concentrate on the concept art for them. So now to do that, I had to go through photos, and to be honest, this is where it got tricky. Photo referencing for my dad, not the easiest thing to do in the world, because he doesn't really have his photo taken much. But fortunately, I had a 30th birthday celebration album, which had a couple of photos of my dad in, so I was able to use those. Now, the scanned concept art images, they are in my negotiated studies blog. The link for the 2 pre-production negotiated studies blogs, the last 2, are in the description bar below, so read those. It gives you a full idea of what I went through and how the images look. Again, difficult to find a photo with my mum in, because she doesn't have Facebook and she doesn't really have photos taken. So I only found one on my birthday party album, and so I was using that reference for basically every single drawing I was doing of my mum, that photo reference. My sister, now she was on Facebook, so it was slightly more easier. I could use different photos. Those photos in the album I had her in, so I could use those, and again that was quite easy. Now with me, I I just did one sheet of images of myself because I was only doing like 2 or 3 expressions. So I didn't really feel the need to go through every single Facebook photo of me. I just needed to pick 3 out. The ones where my hands are over my face and it's kind of like the flashback that my dad has of telling me my hands are over my face, and originally I was supposed to say what I was doing, but as you'll see in the animatic I just say yeah, I can remember, and then it's got the reaction, so that tells its own story. And for that expression, Elaine took I think 3 or 4 photos and with my hands over my face like this. So the one that's in the animatic, that comes from that, which was taken in September. So the concept art was a tricky affair to sort out, but I got there in the end. And then it was a case of storyboards. Now fortunately I had about 5 or 6 storyboard sheets left over from the first year and the second year. So they came in handy. I was able to then start the drawing process, if you like, and that took quite a while. Once they were all done, they were all scanned in, which are in the penultimate Negotiated Studies 1 blog. And because I'd done them in light pencil, save for the last one, I needed to make them. I needed to mess about with the brightness and the contrast of the 2 storyboard images, so they'd look more clearer on screen. Because I was then advised, if you like, by Simon and Yvonne at the summative assessment, which took place the Tuesday before we broke up for Christmas, you know, to add colour to them, so it would give them a fair idea for when it came to the animatic of what it would look like. So that was a 2-week process, all over Christmas, barring Christmas Day, of adding colour to each one. So there was a lot of work done prior to me going back for Christmas. If I could spare like 4 hours or so, like I can't remember what day, probably Christmas Eve. If I had 4 hours on Christmas Eve to spare, I was doing work. Christmas Day was the only day I didn't do any, as I've said, and then the rest of the time was just adding colour and trying to get a feel for how the scenes were going to look. Okay, colour wise, it was fairly simple because I'm using the latest version of Photoshop, which is CC, which is basically another version of CS8. I have them all stored in like a colour swatches library, so all the colours that you see on screen in the animatic were all saved in my library, so I was able to pick out which one I wanted. I think the trickiest thing was sorting the hair out from I didn't write hair colour for my dad, because in some photos it looks brown but then it looks grey, so, or black, so it's kind of hard to tell. I think it was, to be honest, the light on the photos, and I just went with kind of like brown but streaks of grey in them, not your normal grey colour, but light grey, so it gave it that that aged look. again, same with mum, sort of like darkish brown hair and then light brown streaks in, so to give her a bit of a aged look. Hair colour for my sister was difficult because she's had various hair colours, if I'm honest, and I just went with red because she used to be dyed red. Her hair used to be dyed red at one stage, and apparently when she saw the first shot of her coloured in, with colour added, sorry, apparently I'd made it look like a ginger. So there you go. I made my sister look like a ginger. Actually, it's red. So, colour bit was very easy. My hair was quite easy to do because it's brown anyway. Other things that were easy were probably the colour of the dog. He's just black and white, so it's easy enough. Colour of the settee, I went with a burgundy colour because that is the closest I can get to it. Everything else was pretty much your standard colour that you see in paintings. And then it got to trimming down the video for the last time. So I was doing more trimming on it on New Year's Eve, which meant I was ahead of schedule for finishing it off. There was only a couple, I think I had to do 2 or 3 saves of it because I was just trimming back more and more and more. Because when you got to 3 minutes 15 seconds, it's then 3 minutes 7, 3 minute 2, 3 minute 1, 2 minute 59, finally done, which is obviously the Final Cut version, which is on my university work blog, which, to be honest, I'll just stick that link in this bar below, or you can go to my playlists and click it and look for it there. Finally, there was sorting the audio out, which that was just a piece of cake, just exporting it as MP3, so it's not really a problem. And then I had the idea, because I'd already messed about with the video in Premiere, and Premiere was already open at the time, I thought, you know what, let's just do it in there, because it's only an Animatic. So I added the MP3 audio, and then I added in all the essential images which I needed. Now some of them were used more than once, because a lot of the scenes, the shots were quite similar, so I thought I might as well just use those. So there was various different copies of various scenes that were used, like shot 1 of scene 1 is the last scene in the Animatic. So you get the idea of where I'm coming from. So yeah, it's just a case of extending the images out as long as the set dialogue would allow it, before then going into a different scene and different dialogue. And that was all finished on the New Year's Day, so I finished it a day ahead of schedule. And obviously the last few days I did blogs for it, because if I'd done them during the schedule it would have messed it up and I would have been delayed by a few days. So there we go. That is the end of it. That is the end of the whole journey of it. A few days ago, actually, before I sign off, just a little bit of news about it. I was contacted by the media and communications manager, Martin Williams, because when I upload it, I take it to share on Google Plus and Twitter. And he contacted me on Twitter for some more information about it, because he wanted to do a press release on it. So I've given him some more information about it, and hopefully I'll be hearing something more by that in the next few weeks. So once I hear something about it, I'll be putting a status out on my Facebook page, my YouTube channel, which is in the bar below. So yeah, it's been an exhausting and at times slightly emotional experience, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And Negotiated Studies 2, which I think will be starting next week, is when it's all really going to kick off. It's all really going to be about lip syncing. Yeah, I've got to lip sync my dad's mouth because he's got a beard, and that's where it's going to get fun. So yeah, this is going to go up tonight. The next blog I'm going to do is tomorrow, which is blog 8. Sorry, it's blog 8 tomorrow, and blog 8 is Trimester 1 overall thoughts, where I can just give my thoughts on a whole trimester regarding dissertation and next studies. So tune in for that, and I will see you soon. Bye.